Hello, everyone. We are right around a minute from our start time. This is Jill Ellis at iResponds. We are kind of pushing through a couple of little technical challenges here. Hopefully nothing that's going to delay us, but we did want to let you know that we're here, and it'll take just a minute to get the visual part of this up and running. We'll be right back with you. Okay, hello, this is Jill Ellis again at iResponse, and hopefully everyone is seeing our title slide here, which is Social Media 101, Engaging with Your Community Successfully. We're right at our start time. I know that there are still people logging in, but we want to be very respectful of time, and we are so glad that you are here today. I know that things in our industry are starting to ramp up in an unbelievable way. I recently had a conversation with a client one evening. I was sitting in the parking lot of the grocery store, and he was excited, but talked about how he felt like a tsunami was coming that he wasn't prepared for. So hopefully everyone is doing well and getting prepared for this. So we're going to move forward here and keep this going with our first few slides. And again, there'll be others that are joining us still logging in. So on our call today, I am so excited to introduce Rose Mentry. She is our Chief Innovation Officer. I see several people that are on the call and that are clients of ours. I want to welcome you. Good to have you here. Some individuals that we haven't met yet as well. And Rose is really our guru behind this. She really has a passion for this industry. She's been in the industry for 40 plus years, and spends a lot of time looking at trends and data and just a lot of information and summarizing it and bringing it back out so that it gives us something to be educated with, but also to be inspired, because we know that the information that we're looking at is only the tip of the iceberg. We encourage you to use this as a kind of jumping off point to dig in and understand more and reach out to us at any time. My name is Jill Ellis. I've been in this industry for 25 plus years. I also want to do a quick shout out. I have a couple of members of our social media team on the call here today. Our leader, Carolyn Rand, and her amazingly talented assistant in marketing here is Samantha Mentry. So a lot of the work that you see can be attributed to Sam's talent there and under Carolyn's leadership. So our agenda today, we'll do a quick just about iResponds, who we are, so we can make some virtual introductions. We're going to jump into global social network, the actual and forecast. We'll look at social media engagement for hotels and resorts. We're going to dig a little bit into the understanding of hashtags and their use, talk about social community engagement tips. We always like to throw in something about what's new, just latest news with OTAs and social media. And as always, there's always a key takeaway wrap up, because it's usually a lot of content coming your way. And we do encourage open discussion. We like to save that to the end, only to be respectful of time. So if you look in your control panel, there's a place where you can type in comments, questions. If you want to add to something that we're discussing, feel free to do that. Or if you have a question, we'll definitely address that at the end. So a little bit about who we are. The one thing that we really want you to understand about our team is that we were created by hoteliers for hoteliers. And I had an agreement there, the puppy barking in the background. And so our team really has a heart to serve, and everything that we do driven to our services comes from really that core belief. And we do this in main three ways that we support hotels, is really from a standpoint of monitoring and responding to guest reviews and surveys. That's kind of the core of what we did from the beginning and offered to hotels. We're working alongside hotels in answering and engaging with those comments. We're working within that 24 to 48 hour time frame. We have evolved into social strategy, so we're posting to social media for our clients, and that is a tremendously growing segment for us right now. The pandemic has pushed some new things forward, and we really focus on strategy with Facebook and Instagram, and it's showcasing your best features. And then, of course, there's this whole new area that, again, it's interesting how the pandemic has kind of pushed it forward, is replying to those direct messages that are coming on your social media channel. So they're a little bit of hybrid of the other two things that we do, but we're finding that there are a lot of guests who do not want to pick up the phone and call and ask questions in the hotel, so they're going to shoot you a DM, and getting to those can be a bit hectic sometimes. So we have stepped in to help many of our clients in this area. And right now we're proudly serving over 1,000 clients globally. It has been an incredibly challenging year, but we're here and we're standing strong with our teams, and we're pivoting when the hotels need assistance. We have quite a few resorts, hotels, restaurants that are part of full service restaurants that are a part of the hotels. And of course, we're very proud to also have some RV resorts, some amazing resorts as part of our portfolio. And so getting into our content, I'm going to invite Rose into the conversation. She's going to jump into the global social network actual and forecasted.
Okay, thank you very much, Jill, and thank you for everybody for joining our webinar today. So as Jill stated, we're going to look at what has been happening globally. Statista came out with the final numbers for 2020 social network usage worldwide. And there was a 6% jump year over year from 2019 into 2020, which really gave us the biggest jump that we have ever seen in years. Number one usage is China, which is not a surprise, at a 927 million, and ahead of second ranked India, which is close to 350 million. United States is actually at the number 4 spot, and United States users equals to 223 million. And so what does these growth percentages mean? When I was looking at these stats, it's great to see it's a 3.3, 4.7, whatever it may be. So as a comparison, I pulled up the worldwide population growth year over year, just to really give it kind of a gauging point. So as we could see, the worldwide population growth from 2019 through 2025 is around a 1% per year, while we see the social media usage growth is expected to be anywhere from 3.5% to 4.5% per year through 2025. So let's look at specifically how United States fares in social growth for the next 5 years in comparison to what we just saw globally. So currently, a couple of statistics ahead of that is 70% of the United States population has at least one social media account. And when looking at those that are 18 and older, so they basically took away any and all anywhere from 10 years and up, all the way up to 18 out of the equation and from the population. So it's actually sitting at 83% US population with active social media accounts. And the reason why they did that is because 18 and older has the purchasing power. And the average social use in the United States is from anywhere from 30 minutes at a minimum to 2 hours per person per day on social media. And 92% of the social media is done through their mobile devices. And it is forecasted that total growth in 6 years will equal to 23.5 million, with a cumulative growth of 10.16%. So that means really it's going to be around 92% of the population using the social channels and staying in touch with their community in the future. The other thing to keep in mind is when Statista did this, they actually only looked at, as you could see, more at the Facebook, WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram, which are part of, and Twitter, which is part of the parent account Facebook brands. Now, if you did combine in there the YouTubes or any other all social platforms, the numbers are even greater of social media usage in the United States, which is sitting at 231.4 million active users currently. And this actually jumped by almost 7% year over year, again, from 2019 going into 2020. So let's look at a little bit what is the most popular social media platform worldwide. Market leader Facebook, as we know, was the first social network ever to surpass 1 billion mark registered accounts. And currently they are sitting at 2.74 billion monthly active users. On the chart, you'll see like 1/300. The number before the slash is the billion mark, and then the numbers after the slash is the million mark. So as we know, the company, as I stated just earlier, currently owns Facebook Core platform, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and Instagram. So, and in the fourth quarter of 2020, Facebook actually reported, as we could see, number one on top, and 3.3 billion monthly core family product users, which is huge. And if you look at TikTok, we're kind of keeping an eye on that because it is climbing. And actually, it has climbed pretty quickly over Twitter, Pinterest, Snapchat, and so on. So it's sitting at 689 million currently, and it's getting very much closer to the Instagram users. It's about halfway there, but we truly think in the next quarter, probably it's going to be at Instagram usage, if not surpass it. So let's take a look at the latest trends for these social platforms. Rival IQ looked at more than 2 billion posts and 3 billion likes, comments, and favorites on Facebook, Core, Instagram, and Twitter from top brands in every major industry. And when I say top brands, basically it could be, the Fortune 500 companies, to really compare and do a social benchmark data for posting frequencies, by post types, hashtags, and more. And here are the results. So they found out that engagement rates were flat on Facebook and Twitter and down on Instagram. So it's sad to see that the powerhouse channel like Instagram is on the decline, but it's nice to also see that industries connecting still one-to-one ratio more with followers on Instagram as well as on Twitter. Posting frequency is also declining for all industries. Brands are posting a little less often on every channel for the second year in a row in 2021. So we saw that kind of going downwards 2019 to mid-2020, and then from mid-2020 till around last month, it's still on a decline. Carousels are becoming king on Instagram. Brands should look for opportunities truly to combine photos into carousels. Why? Instagram carousels often get reserved to users who don't engage the first time, earning more impressions in the long run. And we're going to talk about the hashtags, as Jill stated. So diversifying hashtags between channels really truly is becoming the key. And what's working on Instagram might not work on Twitter. So brands should do their research and experiment before they decide on the hashtag use. And believe it or not, COVID was less of a player than one might think. So no industry, though, was immune to the effects of COVID-19 this past year. But it didn't lead to disastrous declines on social media for any industry in particular, because, for example, on Instagram posts, less people should have been posting because they're not traveling as much and doing, activities as much as they did in the past. So we did not see that, which is good. So let's take a deeper dive from this study and what it does mean for hotels and resorts. Even though the post frequency and engagement rate overall is downward trend, the good news for hotels and resorts are that we are still higher than the average engagement rate per post than the other industries. So Instagram continues to be the best fit for hotels and resorts with the highest ROI than any other industry. So currently it's sitting around 1.01 engagement rate, and it is outpacing the median of all the industries, which is sitting only at 0.98% engagement rate. And as a comparison point, I kind of wanted to share with you, for example, fashion industry is at a 0.51%. So really half of how well we do in the hospitality industry. Food and beverage is a little bit more than the hotels and resorts at 1.06%. And again, we are doing a lot better than the median than any other industry. So just keep that in mind moving into these other slides. So I wanted to also look at what type of social engagement for hotels and resorts community prefers, and they really did, again, hone into each industry individually in this study, which is a great look and see what's working, what's not working, and what is still giving the better ROI for hotels and resorts. So on Facebook, photos continues to inspire followers to dream about their next vacation more than even videos. Now, on the other hand, on Twitter, we see an increase in engagement rates for both photo and video tweets this past year, despite a tough year of travel, as I stated earlier, and they both seem to be at the same level when you look at their engagement rate. On Instagram, we are seeing an engagement rate increase for carousel posts. Therefore, in 2021, there should be more effort given to combining more photos into carousels to boost the Insta engagement. In addition, this increase in carousel engagement seems to be equally effective in all industries. So we know it's not just the hotels and resorts, but the users are looking for this. And it's an indicator that we definitely need to moving and gravitating more and more towards visual social engagement. So it also seems like hotels and resorts community likes status and links posts at the least, which are falling to the bottom when you look at all three: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram in social engagement preferences. So since there is a bigger demand for visual social community engagement, Facebook started testing the option of sharing Instagram Reels on Facebook. Surprise, surprise. And here's the Hootsuite stats, including 2018 actual through 2022 forecast that backs up the video importance for social engagement and how that's going to look, what that's going to look like in the future. So ad-supported video viewership is on the rise for all industry with an expected total growth of 64.5% 2018 through 2022. The biggest growth was last year at 25.4% from 2019, and it is forecasted that this growth will continue into 2022 and beyond, as we see in the chart. So seeing these facts, and with COVID kicking video into high gear, Facebook started testing the option of sharing the Instagram Reels on Facebook in July of 2020, but only in certain parts of India and with certain parts of their users or people that are using it. This timing is, though, no coincidence to the fact that this was done just days after TikTok was banned in India region due to ongoing border disputes between India and China. And this test included some Indian users, as I stated, who were able to create 30-second long reels on Instagram and having the option of having them recommended also on Facebook. And they found out that the test has been proven to be successful, and Facebook is now taking the next step by launching it in India region entirely this year for users to share their reels, clips on Facebook, and then based on that, they'll probably enroll that throughout globally in every region. And also, since we are seeing that Instagram is what is working for hotels and resorts in social community reach, here are some latest facts that we wanted to share with you as well. 81% of the Instagrammers use it for research, which while 50% of them end up visiting the website of the product and make a purchase, which is very strong when you look at those facts. And only you could do this on Instagram per Hootsuite. Average business posts are 1 post per day in hopes of reaching their social community. And the best time to post, which is really interesting, is Thursdays at 5 a.m., 11 a.m., 3 p.m., and 4 p.m. And that's in any time zone. So you don't have to, make sure that it's Eastern or Central and so on for when you schedule the posts. 51% of the users currently are female and 49% are male, which is an even split, really, when you look at that. On average, they spend 30 minutes per day on Instagram, in addition to other social media channels or platforms that they might be on. So as Jill stated, we're going to change it up a little, and I'm turning it back over to Jill. to dive a little bit deeper into hashtags and how it varies based on social media channels, different types, and how to use them to have a different success rate in our social community reach. Jill?
Hey, thanks so much, Rose. I wanted to welcome those that came in after we started and remind everyone that if you have comments, questions, the chat box, or there's a question box there as well, is available, and we will be checking that at the end. So we're going to concentrate on Instagram on this first kind of slide, looking at this chart, and it shows success rate on engagement by the number of hashtags used on a post. Now, when I first looked at this personally, I was like, wow, that's all over the board. It's not really telling me anything, which is exactly true. It's not clear that there's a direct connection between number of hashtags that are used that will determine your engagement success, except I feel like there's two outliers here. So if you look at not using hashtags, so that's no hashtags, the engagement number is going to be low. So that's not a good strategy to go across with that. If you get into 11 plus, engagement goes up, but we really think this is connected to the next bit of information that we're going to show, that if it's not about the numbers, then what is it about? So looking at this exact question, Rival IQ took about 15 plus hotels and resorts in this particular study. Here's what their takeaway was from that. Contests and giveaways captured the attention of many hotel and resort followers on Instagram. So hashtags that help followers imagine relaxing getaways like hashtag throwback or hashtag wanderlust also performed well. Twitter hashtags for hotels and resorts, on the other hand, were all about holidays. So they wanted to help followers plan or dream of holiday getaways. I feel like that's a very relevant theme right now. In general, the use of successful hashtags really comes down to understanding your audience and also the profile of the members by social channel. So the idea that you just copy paste all the same hashtags across your channels isn't probably going to be the most effective strategy for you. So it's imperative that you continually test several hashtags, really start to understand on the different channels that you're engaging with, where is your audience? What are they engaging with? What's best suited for your particular situation? And of course, that can change by seasonality. It could be, some shifts in the local market, events that are coming to place. One of the recurring things you will always hear from us is we firmly believe in, do your research, get on Instagram, search that hashtag, see what type of content is coming up with that. Does that align with the audience that you're trying to capture? Test it, see what engagement works, what doesn't work, and keep repeating. Don't be shy about that. That's the way that you learn with it. So next we're going to look at coming up with the right hashtag makes a difference in a social community. It's really all about getting those right visibility of individuals. And so really keep in mind that, hashtags are what make your content even more searchable. So those individuals that are not necessarily following you yet, but yet there's certain types of content they like, that's expanding who's seeing your content. So good command of hashtags is needed to become and stay relevant on Instagram. Nothing turns us off more than irrelevant content. So think about your own personal social usage, and anything that seems completely irrelevant to what you're doing online, it feels like spam. So here are some examples of different types of hashtags, just to keep in mind. I'm just going to name a few of these here. So a niche might be hashtag travel blogger. If you're looking for a product or a service, you're going to want to think hashtag hotel, hashtag handbag. There are industry Instagram communities. An example of that would be hashtag travelers of Instagram. Special events and seasonal things that take place. So you've got hashtag National Donut Day, hashtag Summer Days. It could be a day of the week, hashtag Sunday Fun Day. So I think you're kind of getting the theme here, and it's a combination of different types of hashtags. So going back to that original chart that we were looking at in this section, is the number of hashtags. More is good if you're hitting the right audience. And typically those that are using more have done their research and are finding those particular hashtags that are relevant to their audience. So shifting just a little bit, we're going to talk about the Explore tab on Instagram. So you may not be familiar with that particular term, Explore tab, and I would encourage you, if you have your phone close by, open your Instagram app, and if you hit on the looking glass, the search box then pops up basically a grid that's there. That is called the Explore tab. It's not new, however, it is gaining traction. So more than 50% of all Instagrammers look through that Explore grid each month, and we can expect to see this rise even more. The feed's new navigation bar provides shortcuts so that users can get to IGTV, they can shop from there, users can further explore their specific interests such as travel, food, art, and beauty. So again, it's making that content more searchable. This is the primary reason why getting on that Explore tab is now a goal for many businesses, brands, and influencers. So from what we know, the Explore page algorithm tracks the users. So it's looking at interest. What do you like? What do you watch? What do you search for? Relationships. Who are you interacting with? Whose posts you react to and comment on? And it will determine the kind of post that would be most interest to the user on that Explore page. So brands on the Explore page stand to gain a larger audience and garner more likes and comments. So the Explore page can place your post in front of new followers. So those who are specifically interested in your content. And that's going to make it more likely that they're going to hit the follow button for your business. So how do you know if you're there yet? This is very difficult to tell, especially because the Explore page is different for every single user. However, it is highly likely that you've snagged a spot on the Explore page if you notice you've gotten some extra new likes, you get comments from unfamiliar accounts, and just a few tips on this one is engage with your followers. Don't leave followers hanging. Keep engagement high. Add your location, reach more local prospects, and gain more local followers in the process. Those relevant hashtags, they come into play here as well. So it's that right mix as mentioned. Post at the right time. Rose shared with us some information about new research on prime times for this. Include a call to action. So add invites for questions, likes, comments. Grow your followers. So find and engage new followers, people who are not following, and really win them over. So community engagement tips. We did want to share just a few tips since we've talked about a lot about data here. And if you think about engagement, so you might say, what does it entail? So just to put a little defining context around that, social media engagement starts with creating and sharing valuable content. That's your first step in that. It's going to result in shares, comments, likes, click-throughs, and mentioned. The more engaged your audience is, the more people will see your post and the faster your audience will grow. Up here, I'm showing two examples that our social media team pulled from us that they felt like were good examples of engagement with guest comments. So the first one's a courtyard in Orlando. They kept this conversation going with the future guests by acknowledging and replying to the comments that they posted on the page. The Four Seasons here utilized a user-generated photo that they found from a previous wedding that was held at their hotel, and they responded to the bride's comment on the post. So again, just a great way to take an authentic look at that. Two other examples. Again, we've got the courtyard in Orlando, and it was noticed by Visit Orlando, who asked permission to use the photo in their marketing efforts, and the hotel agreed. Again, this is a great example of monitoring what's being said and what's happening on your pages so that you don't miss those opportunities to get even more visibility. And then we have the Nashville Hilton downtown here. It's an inspirational post featuring a user-generated photo. It's the Nashville skyline. This gained over 3,000 likes, 45 comments, 182 shares. And the hotel engagement, again, kind of the hotel jumping into the comments about the photography. So just some good examples of how that plays out in the real world. And so community engagement in 2021. So how to increase your interaction. We have some tips here. I'm just going to highlight these. Again, any information that we're sharing today is always available post-webinar. We can send it to you. We keep these on our website along with many other webinars with similar topics that you might want to explore. So tip one is get people to tell their stories. People love to share themselves with others. Use images. Images convey emotions quickly and efficiently. Be a responsive community engagement leader. Make sure you respond to the people that take time to leave comments and respond to your post. It's just all about that engagement. Make sure your contributions stay grounded. It's easy to become irrelevant once your network grows to a little bit, but continue to keep it simple and true to your brand. Again, if you are part of a major brand, there are incredible resources that are available to you and guidance to to help offer suggestions and ideas with that. And I encourage you to continue to dive into that. Community engagement starts with understanding and adding value. So again, going back to understanding what your members and their connections want. Come from a mindset of making someone else's day better. Keep a fallback for content. If you can't find something with the appropriate information of the day, you can always fall back on entertainment and education content. So just having that backup plan when there might not be something as exciting for that day as you had hoped for. So that wraps up that section. And Rose, I'm gonna let you get us into the ending here, close down to the ending with looking at what's latest with OTAs and social media.
Okay, thank you, Jill. And again, we just wanted to share, this is our kind of what's new segment that we've added on the last couple of webinars, because there's always something forever changing. And we want to be able to report it out to you to keep an eye on. This new tool that TripAdvisor came up with, crowd-free, actually, we had announced it on our last webinar as well, but I want to make sure that you are aware of it. So they've been working with Slack, Amazon Web Service, and 9 other technology companies in developing a new software to really help individuals identify areas that are less crowded in cities around the United States as they start traveling or even going dining or where they want to be. So in doing so, they produced the new app, crowdfree.me is the app's name. And they have the capability to check and see and what's going on, COVID high risk areas, lower risk areas. And as you could see, there are some red spot areas and some yellow orange areas. So the darker, the deeper the red, obviously, the more COVID, and more white you see, the less chance, lower risk of COVID. So it's really helped to have consumers avoid crowds at businesses, public places such as parks, beaches, hotels, areas via their cell phone. And the cell phone location pings from users that have opted to share their location via their mobile devices, and that's how it actually aggregates historical traffic data into this app. The data is displayed on a map, as I said, which is graph-based on the time of day and day of the week. So you could kind of gauge, okay, 3 days ago it was worse, now it's getting better, or 3 days ago it was really, not that bad, but now it's getting worse. And it's updated once each day, and more recent data is weighted higher than older data. So you could really trust this app. And users can click on the location and see how crowded it is for each hour on a particular day or given day of the week. An overlay of heat map also indicates the density of the crowds in the public areas using yellow, as I said, and red as high. So it's a great tool to utilize. We don't know how it's going to be received by individuals. I would assume it's going to go pretty well once they introduce it to everybody to be able to download the app for use when it comes to travel or dining or whatever they're planning on doing this week, today, tonight, next week, whatever that could be. Another one is, so what's next from TikTok? As we saw in the earlier tiles, that TikTok is really moving up rapidly, about halfway as many users as Instagram currently last month. And then we'll see what happens by mid this year. So they've been sending out upcoming changes to their users. An update is effective April 14th, which was this week. So they really haven't come out in press, in media, announcing anything, but they've just been sending, as you could see, this type of a message when you log into TikTok. And you can soon, the users, personalize ads based on what they do on TikTok, with the option of users switching back to general ads as it is currently, if they want to. So it's not a must. In addition, if TikTok users do not want to see these personalized ads, they have to each individually opt out by making setting changes. So if they don't make those changes, it's automatically going to be doing this. So users have to literally go back and change it back to the way they liked it. And the TikTok did report that the system does not store personal identification or identifiable information, and none of the data is used for commercial purposes. So we'll see what happens with that front as well. So Jill, key takeaway.
I'm here.
To review that, and I'm going to see if there are any questions. So far, we have questions posted. So reminder again, if you have any questions, please do so, and we'll take those later on.
Yeah, definitely. And I see we're about 5 minutes over our time, and apologize for that. We had a little bit of a hiccup with technology in the beginning. So if you need to jump off, we completely understand. So just wrapping up some key takeaways here. Facebook and Instagram are the top social media channels for hotels and resorts. So we know that engagement rates per post for hotels and resorts are the highest across all industries and channels. Social media content should include a combination of both photos and videos. This is inspiring followers to dream about their next vacation. Again, if you want to look at some additional content that we have on our website, we have some information. We did a whole series on video. Carousels are king on Instagram. They are often get reserved to users who don't engage the first time, earning more impressions. So keep that in mind. Hashtags, we talked about that at length. They help make your content searchable or are needed to stay relevant, especially on Instagram. Social media engagement starts with creating and sharing valuable content. It all starts there. And then grow your social community by engagement in responding to people who take the time to respond to you. This could be in public engagement and private conversations like direct messages and story interactions. So again, just showing that heart of hospitality in everything that you do. And Rose, that wraps us up for content today. Do we have any questions before we close out?
No, I do not see any questions, but here's our information. In case you need to email us if you think of something else after this webinar. And also just a quick reminder, we are going to repeat the same webinar next Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So if you would like to send your co-workers, associates, whomever that would be to join us, that would be great. Thank you very much and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks.